Welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage, and we're going to be tracking a lot in the tropics here as we have Tropical Storm Humberto that just formed. We have Imelda that is likely to become a hurricane over the next few days. And of course, we do have Gabrielle that is in the North Atlantic as well we're going to talk about. So we got a lot to talk about in the tropics. Severe weather upcoming over the next 24 to 48 hours across the Eastern U.S. where damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes will be possible. And then we'll look at the long-range forecast at the end. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend, family member, and on social media. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you do like these daily updates. So let's look here at the tropics. We have Gabrielle that is up here into the north, even the northeast Atlantic right now. We have Tropical Storm Humberto that just formed over the past 24 hours or so. And then over here into the Caribbean, we have what is likely to become Imelda as it pushes further off to the north and west, closer to the United States, likely becoming a hurricane with time as we get through the weekend and into early next week. So let's look at the background state of the atmosphere here in the Atlantic, and notice you get the lower pressure that is in blue. We have Gabrielle up here with a stretching low pressure trough across portions of the North Atlantic. We got a low pressure system down here with Humberto, and then lowering of the pressure over here near the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and even up toward the eastern Bahamas as well. Notice we got a weak here type of high pressure system, and the airflow around a high pressure system is clockwise, and that's going to steer not only Humberto but also what could become likely Imelda further off to the north and the northwest towards the United States with time. And you can see that's because our high pressure system is going to slowly retreat further off to the north and east, and allowing those low pressure systems to cut underneath and move toward the United States. Let's look here at also the background environment for the thermodynamics here. This is your ocean temperatures, very warm in the southwest Atlantic, especially where Humberto is, but even more so where Imelda is likely to form near the Bahamas. That is very warm water, folks. That is well above where we should see here in late September. So not only do we have a low shear environment, hurricanes, tropical storms love a low, if not no shear environment. They love a lot of ventilation. And also we have a primal ridge of high pressure to the north of it, allowing for those low pressures and the lowering of the pressure underneath. And then we also have those favorable thermodynamics with our water temperatures being so warm. So with that put together, let's look at the ensembles, and you can see a lot going on here. This is what you call a spaghetti model, and you can see the brighter colors are stronger systems into the 960s, 950, even 940 range. That would give you a major hurricane here with Humberto. And then you can see the Imelda starting to gain strength and latitude as well once it pushes up there toward the Carolinas and in toward Virginia. This is on the European ensemble guidance. We look here at the GEFS, the American ensemble guidance, and it is very similar with maybe a little bit of an eastward tick compared to the European ensemble that I just showed you, but nonetheless, same characteristics as Humberto gets close here to the United States and then out to sea toward Bermuda. But then it looks like Imelda makes landfall potentially into the Carolinas, or at least near the United States, with impacts as we go toward the weekend and into next week. Here is the official look at Humberto from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida. Right now, a 50 mile per hour strong tropical storm. It's moving northwest at 8 miles per hour. Notice it becomes a hurricane once we get to Friday evening, and a major hurricane by Sunday morning, and remaining a major hurricane straight through the day on Sunday and into Monday, before continuing to weaken just a little bit as it starts to move just to the west, cutting between Bermuda and the Outer Banks as a hurricane, at least a Category 2, heading into early next week on Tuesday. But there to the west, we have another system with a strong tropical wave moving over the greater Antilles right now of the Dominican Republic, and Haiti has a 90% chance, almost a near certainty to develop. This is likely to become Imelda as it pushes up there into the Bahamas and closer to the United States over the next few days. And you can see that here with the European guidance. By Sunday, September 28th, you can see the low pressure down there into the Bahamas. It's going to be gaining latitude as it strengthens as we go into Monday. Friday, and a lot of those outer bands are going to really start to reach inward here across portions of the Carolinas, Virginia, up there even into the mid-Atlantic coast. So you're not immune to this if you were in Maryland, for example, Delaware, or southern Jersey. Heaviest of the rains are going to be right near the eye wall potentially with this system. European model has it making landfall near Myrtle Beach in South Carolina Monday afternoon or evening, and that would bring some pretty heavy rainfall for a several-day period going through much of next week with potentially double-digit rainfall totals. This would be one of the worst-case scenarios for the hilly terrain here into the Carolinas and Virginia, even up into the mid-Atlantic. Areas like Maryland, Delaware, even into southern Jersey, Atlantic City, for example, could see some pretty heavy rain with the European ensemble scenario. Now, with the American GFS model, you can see it is very much similar, although it doesn't have as closed of a low-pressure system, but it does still bring some heavier rain here into the Carolinas and Virginia, with potentially some areas getting, again, double-digit rainfall totals, with the heaviest just offshore of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So be keeping a very close eye on the trajectory, the strength of the system, and its impacts as what they become known to the Eastern U.S. here over the next few days. Here is the most likely scenario. This is the national blend of models here, putting all the model guidance together and giving you an average output or a mean. You can see it is giving us potentially anywhere from 4 to as much as 8 inches of rain, with the heaviest along the coast of the Carolinas into the Outer Banks. And that's something we're going to be keeping an eye on as we go through next week here in general. Now, a look around the United States here in North America, we are going to be seeing quite a bit of high pressure building with sunshine here, so sun-splashed skies across the northern plains, Pacific Northwest here today. Low pressure that could bring some severe weather to the landscape as we go across the east here. We'll talk about that momentarily. But as far as our temperatures are concerned, pretty nice temperatures to go around. Midwest, the Ohio Valley, a little bit cooler up here into the Northeast, but you can see any warmth we see is down here toward the southeast coast. Florida, coastal Georgia, the eastern Carolinas into the 90s this afternoon. Here's where we go as we start the day on Friday, and we're going to be seeing 40s and 50s all across the north central U.S., coolest air across the Pacific Northwest, and then as we go here into the weekend, we're going to see that ridge of high pressure start to progressively move further to the east into the upper Midwest, and that's going to bring some warmer temperatures to the upper Midwest once we get to Friday, and then going into Saturday, and then Sunday, we're going to start to warm those temperatures up at least a handful of degrees into the low and mid 80s as we go into the weekend. So that's what we're going to be keeping an eye on. Now, out ahead of that warmth, we are seeing some severe weather today. Not an outbreak of severe weather, but an isolated threat there from the northeast all the way down into the southeast. Also monitoring some stronger storms near Vegas all the way down here north and east of Phoenix and Arizona as we go through today. Going into Friday, looks like potentially some more strong storms into the Phoenix area, into southeastern Arizona. A few counties there in southwestern New Mexico could also see some stronger storms once we go into tomorrow. So here today, we're watching some stronger thunderstorms across the northeast, stretching down to the southeast. Again, mainly a damaging wind and hail threat, but I think an isolated brief tornado will be possible, especially near the low pressure system up here into the northeast. As we go into the day on Friday, we're going to be watching out for some stronger storms there into the desert southwest Arizona, southeastern Arizona, southwestern New Mexico is the area to watch there, including the Phoenix area as we go into especially Friday mid-afternoon through early Friday evening. And then heading into the weekend, we're looking at a pretty quiet pattern with the tropics being so close to the southeast with the hurricane potentially this weekend, especially by Sunday. We're going to see a lot of high pressure here across the central U.S. So a lot of sunshine for the weekend and much warmer temperatures. And you can see the precipitation, not really seeing a lot of precipitation here across the central U.S. Some heavier rains expected across Arizona, parts of New Mexico, and West Texas, but the main precipitation is going to be tied to the tropics as that system likely makes landfall here along the East Coast, whether it's the Outer Banks or into the Carolinas or Virginia. We're going to be seeing some heavier rainfall opportunities through the rest of the month of September. Now, going here into the first few days of October, heading into next week, our ridge of high pressure is going to be building a little bit stronger here up into southern Canada, Ontario, and Manitoba up toward the Hudson Bay. Lower pressure in blue, you can see a big trough coming in across the North Pacific, nosing its way into the Pacific Northwest. That's going to bring in some cooler temperatures to the immediate west coast, and then the east coast also with our tropical influence, a lot of cloud cover, precipitation, keeping our temperatures below normal next week, but above normal temperatures are favored for southern Canada and into the northern tier. So of the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes region, going to be warmer as we go into next week in general, and drier with the sun-splashed skies. You're not going to see precipitation really across the Mississippi Valley. It's going to be tied to the tropics near the mid-Atlantic and southeast coast, or that trough that comes in that produces some moisture for the Pacific Northwest, even maybe as far south as Central California, the Sacramento Valley, as we go through later next week in general. Now, going into the second week of October, we've been monitoring this for several videos in a row here, that recurving typhoon out in the West Pacific over there toward Japan several days ago is going to bring a stronger cold front to the central and eastern U.S. by mid-October. I think the second week of October, especially the latter half of the second week of October, we're likely to see some cooler temperatures for the central and eastern United States, and that looks to come to fruition. Now, the strength of this cold front is still in question, but there could definitely be some warmer temperatures for the central and western U.S. as that cold front really starts to crash in from Canada into the eastern U.S. by that second week of October, and that could bring some moisture prospects to the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast, with the main storm track up there into southeastern Canada, Ontario, Quebec, and even toward the Hudson Bay, and then maybe some moisture as we see some recurving moisture from the East Pacific up here into the desert Southwest and the western U.S. in general. We'll have to keep an eye on the severe weather and see how much it increases in the central U.S. by the time that cold front comes around in mid-October. That will be something to monitor in more future videos that I do post. Thank you all for watching. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you found it informative, detailed, and life-saving for you, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We'll do daily weather forecast videos. Have another one likely out for you tomorrow, updating you on the tropics, updating you on the upcoming long-range weather forecast across North America. We talk about Canada, we talk about the United States and the tropics on all of my videos. So make sure to subscribe, like the video, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also share this with a friend, family member, and on social media. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe rest of their Thursday out there.